You'll probably have to edit that one out. I love that one.
And the home of the brave.
Game on!
Welcome to episode 101 of the Hit the Deck podcast, where we talk deck hockey, street hockey, ball hockey, it's hockey in sneakers. And I gotta tell you, 101 has a great significance, a deep significance to me personally, because what used to be the oldies station here in New York, where I grew up, and the station that I grew up listening to, the radio station that I was raised on, was CBS FM 101.1. And since this is the very beginning of the podcast, it could be argued that this section is in fact 101.1. So this is something that means a lot to me. So I am happy to be here, and I'm happy to be here with you. And I'm happy to be here with James. How are you, James?
I'm hanging in there, sir. How about yourself?
I'm all right. And I know you've been a little ill, and I'm sorry to hear that. And I appreciate your being able to hockey up and do the podcast with me tonight. But I know that you were away last week, which is part of the reason why we didn't have a podcast last week. I guess it could also be argued that we were taking a little bit of a victory lap after our 100th episode. But yeah, how was your vacation?
It was terrific. Yeah, it was timing. That's all it was. It was a complete coincidence, but it just worked out that way, which was great. But it was we had a fantastic trip. My father took me to Yellowstone Park, and we visited Mount Rushmore. And so we checked out Presidents Washington, Jefferson, Roosevelt, and Lincoln. We saw Old Faithful, which was pretty thrilling. We visited Little Bighorn, the Grand Tetons, and I think we went to 5 states. So we traveled from South Dakota to Montana to Wyoming to Idaho and Utah. But it was a thrilling trip, and this country is a gorgeous country of ours, and I recommend anybody try and see as much of it as you can while we're all here.
And you told me you also did some boring, docile rafting?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we did a raft on the Snake River, which sounded a lot cooler. It was a lot of fun, as it was. But there was about 8 of us on a big raft, an inflatable raft, and it was really calm. No white water or anything crazy like that, in case my mom's listening. It's true. we have pictures to prove how calm everything was. And I guess our pilot, if you will, who was maneuvering through the water, was excellent. A nice, strong young man, and everybody was great. Nobody fell in. We had our life jackets on just in case, but we got to see an eagle perched up high in a tree, which was a thrill. The American Rhino, I'm sure you appreciate the eagle for its symbolism of this great country.
Sure.
And it was great. It was the weather was nice that day. It was rainy and cold during most of the time in South Dakota and Montana, but even Wyoming as well. But by the time we got down to the Snake River, it was a nice sunny day and calm day too for the water. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, longtime listeners will remember that I did have to go to Seattle a couple of times for work. So I did get to walk around the city there, but I've never actually, by choice, been really west of Pennsylvania. So I don't have a lot of experience out in the wilds of the country. So, I guess you're one up on me there, buddy.
Well, it's expensive, and if my dad wasn't treating and he literally paid for every single thing, I didn't spend a dime on the trip, so it was a very expensive trip, and I appreciate that. But if you have the money, if you have the time, by all means, you go on like a tour or something like that, and it's great. But it just so happened that it worked out that way. It was something on my dad's bucket list, and I was just lucky enough to go along with him, so it was great.
I also went to a wedding in Kentucky once. But again, that wasn't really by choice.
Okay. But hey, you never know, man. If hopefully the future is wide open and you can take your lovely wife and daughter to the West Coast someday or wherever you want to go.
The father of the bride was the mayor of Scotland or Glasgow. What was it? Where were we? Glasgow? Okay, yeah. My wife is confirming. The mayor of Glasgow, Kentucky.
That's incredible.
I think he wore a kilt. No, my wife doesn't remember either. I'm for the sake of the story, I'm going to say he wore a kilt.
That's excellent.
He was in a tent.
Okay. Any association with the Kentucky Derby too, or just?
It was actually around the time of the Kentucky Derby, but no, it wasn't. It was just that happens to be where they live.
Okay, hey, that's friends in high places. Cool stuff, man.
It's a small town. It wasn't that high. But listen, the most memorable thing about that wedding, and I forgot all about this until just now, was the cocktail hour. So, traditional wedding, you've got the actual ceremony, and then you've got the cocktail hour, and then is the reception, right? That's traditionally the order of events for a wedding. So the cocktail hour, this all took place I believe at one facility, if I recall correctly, but the cocktail hour was outside on a patio, and there was like 100 people, and there were 3 small tables. So the bulk of it was just people looking for a place to stand with their plate of really very little food.
Were there mint juleps being thrown around like crazy?
I really don't remember. It was I know. I'm sure people didn't tune in to Hit the Deck to hear me, bash a 10-year-old wedding or whatever, but it was ridiculous. The whole thing was ridiculous. I'm sorry. If we have any listeners from Kentucky or Glasgow, Kentucky, I want to say I'm sorry for knocking your city. I'm not that sorry, but I hope you're going to enjoy the podcast nonetheless.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Yeah, all right.
How are you doing otherwise?
I've been okay, thank you. I've been holding down the fort here. As James, as you saw when you came back, we posted a bunch of highlights from Hit the Deck, as we said we were going to do on our 100th episode. We posted a bunch of highlights. There was 11 clips, 11 of our best segments as voted by your American Rhino, and with some input from James. And I think those are segments that we're really proud of, and that are really kind of indicative of the best stuff that we do here on the podcast. So if you are a new listener, then you may have missed some of these. So I would encourage you to go to our YouTube channel and check it out, because there's really no bad listens in that batch. And if you are a longtime listener, then maybe go back and check some of the segments that you may have enjoyed and forgotten about.
Yeah, really, absolutely excellent job, American Rhino. Fantastic, much appreciated. Well done, but for as great as the amount of work you put into finding those clips and putting them together and making them for YouTube, are the pictures you put up are extraordinary, because I had the fun couple of days to catch up on what you had posted and enjoying and listening and laughing again at some of your best work, which is much appreciated. But the pictures you found are astounding, particularly the Sesame Street hockey segment, which I love, one of your best moments of all time.
I enjoyed that one too.
How did you find a picture of Ernie playing hockey and you put him in between the 1969 moon landing guys?
The magic of Google image search, James. I happened upon it. That actually was like a Christmas ornament that somebody was selling on eBay or something, and I just cropped it and stuck it in. So I apologize that I didn't credit anybody for that stuff, but c'est la vie.
If that gets us more attention, then well done. But that is just extraordinary. Well done, sir. Great job.
Thank you. My pleasure. I hope somebody else besides you. I mean, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I hope someone else besides you also gets a kick out of it.
Yeah, we'll do some more, because that's worth listening to and promoting. So maybe we'll try and tie things in with Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that with all the great work that Gary had just put in, because it is a lot of work, and Gary never takes credit for what he does, and brilliant stuff. So thank you so much for all of that. It's really well done and much appreciated.
Actually, James, there is something else that I happened to keep busy with this past weekend that I wanted to talk about. Between highlight segments posted on YouTube, I was able to get out and play hockey with the LIQ. And if you happen to be watching our Facebook page, I don't expect that you sit and watch our Facebook page religiously for updates, but if you happen to be in the vicinity of our Facebook page this weekend, then you know this weekend was interesting, if only because your American Rhino was not in the crease in the games that we played this weekend. We, as I mentioned on a previous recent podcast, the LIQ is growing and we have more goalies than we know what to do with, which is, a great problem to have, believe me, because there have been plenty of times in the past where we've had far too few goalies and we've had to call games just because we didn't have anyone to stand in the other net. But now we have a bunch of people who play goalie either as their primary position or are willing to jump in the goal, and split time in net. And so I decided, it was my turn. It was my turn to not be in net and let a couple of other guys jump in there. So actually 3 guys wound up playing goal this past weekend. Craig played the first 2 games and Eric jumped in for the other 2 games on one team. And then the other goal was backstopped by Sean. So, that was... And for all 4 games that we played, now just as a reminder, in the LIQ, we don't play full 15 or 20 minute periods. We play 6-minute periods, three 6-minute periods. But we played 4 games on Sunday, and I was out as a skater for all of them. And it was a very interesting experience because I don't know what I'm doing, really. So, and I'm not conditioned for that. So the first game, after the first period, my lungs were burning. I didn't know how I was going to continue. But after that first period, I was okay from a wind perspective. Although I did get tired and I got a little lazy, I guess, running around. It's hard. Well, I said, and I posted this on Facebook. I don't know, James. I don't know how you guys do this. Every week. I'm sure it's conditioning. I'm sure if once you do it all the time, you get used to it and it's like nothing. But for me, who's not used to this at all, my whole body hurt. and Craig, who was out of goal for the second 2 games, running around, he had a similar experience. Everything below my neck hurt for a couple of days. And even now, it was hard to walk for a couple of days. I'd sit down for a while and then I'd have jelly legs for however long when I stood up. And even now that, that's mostly past, my legs are still a little sore. So I can't imagine. I know, again, it's conditioning. When I started playing goal years ago, 4.5 years ago, whatever, it was about 4 years ago, I guess, or maybe even 5 at this point. I can't keep track. Whatever. When I started playing goal, however long ago, I felt like this after playing games. Again, it's what your body's used to. So I understand that it gets easier, but geez, man, and even when setting conditioning aside, I would be out there running around and I would have no idea where I was supposed to be. I would run up sometimes or I'd play back wherever I felt like I was covering zone best, but I don't know what to do with the puck. I would get the puck and I would look to hand it off because somebody would immediately be on me. I don't know, I'm not a playmaker. I mean, I was decent enough at passing the puck around, I think, although I do have to apologize for Joe because I took the puck in the corner after it going out and he called for the pass. And instead of, just gently sending it over to him, I whipped I basically whipped a shot at him and I hurt his toe and I apologize for that. It's just me not knowing what I'm doing, but it's a whole different experience, man. It's a whole new world out there out of the crease. And I think I'm going to be very happy next time I play to go back to the safety of that crease.
Were you on defense or offense?
Mostly defense. I mean, we like I said, we cycled a little bit and I found myself up a couple of times, but I primarily play defense. In fact, Rob, who was on my team, the first couple of games, actually, no, it wouldn't have been the first couple. It would have been the second and third because we lost the first game. The second and third game, at the end of the game, we were up, but it was close. And Rob actually came out so I could go in as a defensive replacement. So, yeah. I pulled a U, James, at one point. It was, maybe 20 seconds left in the game, at 15 seconds, whatever. And there was a scramble in our zone. And I wound up sliding like in front of the crease to block a shot.
Well, I'm glad your goalie instincts kicked in. That's fantastic.
Well, I tried, like I made a conscious effort because I know as a goalie, I know what the other end of that feels like. I tried very hard not to screen my goalie and not to, block him from being able to make a save. So I hope that I was able to pull that off effectively.
Yeah, and again, we can't do what you do either. Being a goalie, as I said, my own personal experience, I could not do anything. My friends were telling me where they were going to shoot. They waited. So, like, we're going to shoot to your glove side. Okay. And I still could not make the save. So it goes both ways. I don't know how you guys do it in goal. God bless you. You're wonderful. And I guess having the freedom of being able to run around, especially not having all that gear on you, must have been the worst part of it, no?
Are you kidding? The running around, not having to wear all that gear was the best part.
Because you must have been like a free animal that was just let out of its cage, or a free rhino.
Yeah, roaming free. Yep. Yeah, that's very, very close to the truth. It did feel a lot like that. That was the best part. The whole freeing idea that I could be out and just run around with a stick and a couple of gloves and just be a hockey player. I mean,
and the stick's much lighter, but it's not as much fun to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. I will say there was one play where I'm sorry, this has become the American Rhino podcast, but there was one play where Paul was on my team and he made a cross deck outlet pass up to me, and I was wide open, but I had to sprint full out to catch up with the puck. And I caught up to it right by the circle or right by the, in a great shooting position, but I was off balance and I whipped a very hard backhand shot right at Sean, who was playing goal. So I didn't score on it, but it was an exhilarating experience. But I felt like I was on the verge of screwing everything up or falling on my face. Or I don't know how you guys managed to keep control of the puck and maintain your composure in those situations. I was just like, oh my God, what am I doing? What am I doing? Oh no, don't screw this up. And actually, I said to my wife that day after the fact, I said, I'm a little disappointed that I wasn't able to score on that play because it was a great chance. But I feel like there's every possibility that there's an alternate universe where I scored on that play, but there's also an alternate universe where I tripped over my own feet and broke my leg on that play. So all things considered, I'm happy with the universe that I'm living in where I didn't score, but nothing bad happened either.
Hey, a shot on goal is just as good in a lot of aspects, especially if it's a tight game and with the competition that we play in. Exactly. It's really hard to get shots off and forget about scoring. I don't know how anybody scores. So well done, sir. That's great. That's a great experience. And I think everybody should be able to enjoy every bit of hockey, especially in DEK, if you want to try being a center or a forward or a defenseman or even a goalie. That's a lot of fun to really get a sense of what goes into each player's talents and abilities, and you really get to learn and love the sport a little bit more.
One thing that I wish I could be a little more objective about, and maybe I'll ask somebody who was on my team next time I see them, whether this was just my inexperience or whether this was actually something that happened. I felt like I wasn't getting a lot of time when I did get the puck. Like I was being pressured very closely and very quickly. So I don't know if that's just a case of me not being familiar, not being accustomed to the amount of time that your average player gets with the puck, when they're playing high or playing back or what have you, or if the other team was deliberately pressuring me because they knew I was inexperienced and thought I might screw up and turn it over.
Were you on the court or were you on the regular hockey rink?
No, we were on the handball court.
And was it 3-on-3 forwards?
Yep.
Okay, so to answer your question, it's very tight. And personally for me, and again, I'm not very good and I'm not quick or anything like that, but I've never, ever, as any time we've played on the court, ever felt like I had any time to do anything. There's always a stick in the way. There's always somebody who gets back because there's no room.
Right.
So that's not on you at all. That's the way it goes, at least for me. And, obviously I'm not as talented as a lot of our other players are, but I never feel that I have a chance to either get a good handle on the puck, get a play, look up, and see what to do with it. It's always like immediate. And a lot of times, if I'm even able to get a shot, somebody's stick will be in the way or somebody will block it. So it's a little frustrating in that aspect. So don't feel bad. That's not on you at all. That's just the nature of a little court and having skilled players to play against.
I will say, recognizing some of the things that I did do well, I think, or reasonably well. One, I didn't really turn the puck over very much. There was a couple of times when I tried to push a pass through that got intercepted. But for the most part, when I was passing the puck, I was able to not hand it over to the other team. It was going more or less where I wanted it to go. And when I was trying to clear it, I was generally able to clear it. So there's that. And then the other thing that I will admit to having done reasonably well is... aside from a couple of plays in the beginning where I had some trouble just maneuvering my stick because it's longer than I'm used to, and I'm not, obviously I'm not used to moving it around the same way as a goalie stick. There were a couple of times one in particular where I failed to clear the crease when the puck was just sitting in the crease and the goalie was out of position, and I should have cleared it, but I couldn't get my stick around. If I had been more experienced, maybe I would have been able to just kick it out, but I wasn't able to, and the offensive player was able to just put it in. But aside from a couple of instances of that, I think I did play pretty well defensively, just on the whole. And I think I played pretty well around the goal as well. So I think, well, I'm certainly not looking to switch my position anytime soon. I think I do have the potential to get better. Let's say that. But oh man, geez, James, how long have we been talking about this? I think this is definitely the longest we've ever gone. Yes, my wife just said a while. So I think this is the longest we've ever gone without properly introducing ourselves.
And we have a guest. I'm so sorry.
Oh man, we are.
That's what happens when you have a week off. Apologies.
Yeah, diarrhea of the mouth. I'm sorry. We get to talking about ourselves, and this is what you get. And I apologize. If you're still with us for some reason, we will start the podcast, and we will make it worth your while. So in that case, as you said, we do have a guest, and we shouldn't keep him waiting any longer. So let's jump right into our starting lineup. Yes?
Yes.
All right.
Sorry.
And for tonight's starting lineup, in goal, as ever, I am number 35, your American Rhino, Gary McComiskey, and of course, my stalwart co-host...
On defense, number 4, I'm James Sajazi, and back with us in this podcast.
Sometimes winger, sometimes defenseman, number 57, Lou Harvatin.
Welcome back to the pod, Lou.
Good to be back. If I can do a Star Trek reference for you guys, I feel like Q. I feel like I'm the Q of the podcast.
You show up once a year?
Randomly. Yeah.
Well done, sir.
Yeah. Listen, a Star Trek reference is always welcome on this podcast. All right, Lou, just hang on one second. You've been here before. You know the drill. We just have one more piece of business to take care of. And James, if you would not mind, could you please tell us what is on deck for this podcast?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
NC State of Mind. Great friend of the podcast, Mr. Lou Harvatin of Charlotte Street Hockey, is back with some big news, and he's here to tell us all about it. And that's what's on deck.
Thank you, James.
You're welcome.
That was quick, and it should be, because we kept Lou waiting far too long. So without further ado, Lou, welcome back to the podcast.
And yeah, like we were saying off air, back with us, a very great friend of the podcast, Mr. Lou Harvatin. And as you were saying, Lou, great to have you here and get us to the other side of 100. So it's an honor to have you back. But just fill us in on what's going on in Charlotte Street Hockey, please.
Wow. Lots of things going on. So as a group, we've grown in great numbers, especially over the past year. We've grown over 100 members. So we're up to over 300 just in the Facebook group, and we still have the email group and everything separate, and Twitter followers and all that. We're primarily a pickup group, and we have tournaments every now and then. Some people like to play, really want a league started up. The issue is the facility we do play in, by their bylaws or whatnot, we're not able to actually run a program through their facility to profit us, so to speak. So we're looking to either do that in another location or maybe somehow find a facility of our own to run our own leagues and tournaments and that kind of thing. So one of our first steps to do that is of course, fundraising so that we can make ourselves legitimate as a league. So we decided to hold a fun little tournament at our home rink, which is the Waymer Park basketball courts. And so we were charging a set amount of money, have a fun little round robin, an elimination kind of tournament, have a cookout at the end, have some camaraderie because it's, it was supposed to be my Memorial Day anyway. So of course you have to have a cookout. And, just have a fun time about it. It's not a serious tournament. It's just a fun thing. You're helping the group by contributing money. One of the goals with the funds is to apply for nonprofit status, which costs more money than I actually thought it did. That would enable us to actually run a league, say in a roller rink or a rec center somewhere. So for liability and all that kind of legal mumbo jumbo.
So was that the issue with the bylaws of the facility that you were trying to get into regularly, that you weren't kind of an incorporated group that was covered legally?
I think that's part of it. And the other part of it, they say they don't rent out any space to, I guess, possibly competing programs. They don't actually have a street hockey program. We are the street hockey program. We still continue to have our pickup games there. So that part of the relationship is still there. But we even tried to hold this tournament at that facility, and they wouldn't let it because it's a fundraising for us, and we would profit, even though we would be actually renting the facility from them.
Interesting. So,
Yeah.
That's okay.
It's disappointing because we've had a good relationship with them since 2011. I mean, we've played there hundreds of times. We've held a couple tournaments. They've held a couple leagues. They've had a change of leadership, and I think that might have been part of it. So it's disappointing, but in the other respect, it kind of tells us that we need to grow as a group and, I hate using this term, but take it to the next level kind of thing.
All right. Well, good luck with that. And I'm sure that I'm not sure, but I hope that this tournament that you just had really contributed to the growth of the group.
Yeah. Well, actually, we had to postpone it due to Mother Nature. And I was looking all week, and it's 80% chance of rain the whole time. And it gets to Friday night, and I just don't want to take a chance because there's people driving an hour and a half in some respects to get to us. So I called it, and wouldn't you know it, didn't rain a drop. It rained at 7:30 in the morning and didn't rain again until probably about 4 o'clock, which was well within our window of tournament time. But
you couldn't risk it,
You just can't never predict these things.
No, of course. And when you're talking about deck hockey, slick surfaces can be a problem for people running around in sneakers and on, concrete or asphalt or whatever surface you happen to be playing on.
Yeah, and I want a quality product too out there. I don't want people slipping, sliding, and God knows break an ankle or God forbid anything happening like that. But
so when did you reschedule it for?
So we rescheduled it for Saturday, June 23rd, weather permitting. We haven't picked up any more people as of yet. I suspect the closer we get to the sign-up deadline, we'll probably get some more in there. Just people's schedules and everything, which I understand.
Now, the big question, since it's no longer Memorial Day, are you still having the cookout?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
I like to eat, so yeah.
Are burgers and hot dogs included in the price of the registration fee?
Absolutely.
All right.
Even some soda or pop, wherever you guys go up there.
Oh,
Very
well,
cool.
James and I would call it soda, but I know, depending on where you are in the country, that's a hot
down here.
topic of conversation.
Western Pennsylvania. Yeah, I'm from Western Pennsylvania. It's pop there. It's soda
Really?
down here.
I'm surprised that far east. I've never heard it called that far east before, so I didn't realize that was the case. I know out west they call it pop. And I know in some places down south, they call any kind of soda Coke.
Absolutely. Yeah, I work with the guy from Alabama. We talk about that all the time.
Mm-hmm. Which is strange to me, but I guess you're used to what you're used to.
Exactly.
And again, the bridging qualities of deck hockey and ball hockey too.
Yeah.
So obviously, and I'm sure a lot of people were also following the weather patterns for the formerly titled Memorial Day 250. So I'm sure that's probably why you didn't get as many people as you were hoping for. But now for June 23rd coming up, did you have to rename the tournament too?
Yeah, I figured since it wouldn't be anywhere close to Memorial Day, I renamed it the Summer Slapper because Kevin Frost took Summer Shootout already, so I didn't want to step on his feet too much. So
Kevin! Friend of the show, Kevin Frost. Now, does that mean that slappers are, in fact, legal in this tournament?
Unfortunately, they are, because my face has taken the brunt of a couple of them.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So, were you at least wearing a helmet?
No, it was not.
Oh.
Right. Yeah.
And you're still a very good-looking man, too, by the way, for people that
Thank
can't
you.
see you. So that's impressive.
You should have seen the ball. No.
Yeah.
Good one. Spoken like a true deck defensive player.
With this group, also, there's a roller group that uses the facility we play pickup in. Mm-hmm. And they, too, are looking for a new venue. Well, not looking for a new venue, but they could definitely use it. With the rink surface being concrete, it wears the wheels down really fast.
Sure.
There's slippery spots where the center line and the logo is painted. So they could use a place, too. And we have a lot of crossover between the two groups. There's players in between. And they're in our corner, too. And they were at least 100 members strong.
Oh, good.
So we got to do backing to if we find anything and get something real going down here. We definitely have the personnel for it.
Now, this is the basketball courts that you're talking about, where the roller hockey also plays?
No, they played it. It's a rink in the South Charlotte area.
Oh, okay. That's the place you ran into issues with bylaws?
Yeah, it's the place.
Gotcha.
So are there prospects on the map that you can scout out, at least?
So we have two members actually in the group. One happens to be a real estate agent. When you have a group of 300, you have a lot of varying careers. Happen to have a real estate agent who is good friends with somebody in the group. They're both from Long Island. They moved down here. I think Dan, who's the real estate agent, moved down 5 years ago, and Nick and his family moved down last year. Nick actually organizes our pickup games, which I used to do. I finally found somebody who had the same gung-ho-ness that I did. I passed that torch to him, which kind of allowed me to step back and do something more with looking at a different place to play and starting leagues and making us a legitimate organization. So they've been scouring the Charlotte area looking for either real estate or any kind of buildings that would suit our use. So it's kind of an ongoing thing right now. But even just to kind of flesh out the market and see what kind of cost we are talking about so we know how much money we will have to raise.
Best of luck with that.
Are you talking about building your own facility, or what exactly are the expenses that you're raising money for?
That's a possibility. Either building our own or buying some land and building a semi-outdoor rink, like an outdoor rink with maybe a roof on it, or the better bet is probably renting a building. There's a person in our group who used to run a deck in Charlotte, but he has some equipment. He has a couple sets of boards and deck material. So, wow. We also have a source at a good, probably reasonably priced.
Sure.
To put into a building. So we're every option's on the table at this point.
Have you considered doing like a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo or something for this, or is it just kind of raising funds in-house?
We're looking at that too. We are treating the tournament kind of as a kickoff to the whole thing, so people kind of know what we're doing and why we're doing, and later on down the line, like people who didn't want to play or couldn't play, but they still want to donate, we'll have like a Kickstarter page or something like that.
All right. Well, that's a noble venture that you are pursuing, and we wish you the best of luck with that.
Thank you. It's a very crazy venture, too.
It seems like you're on the right track. You have the plan, you're executing it, and that's fantastic that you have a real estate agent and other people that are, 300 players. That's fantastic, plus the additional 100 for the other league, too. So, and deck hockey is really popular in North Carolina, as we understand as well. So it seems like you're really on the right track to get things going. So best of luck with the tournament. I hope that it sparks what you need, and any help that we can offer, we'd love to as well. We'll even try and promote the Summer Slapper as much as we can and whatnot. And go for it, man. It sounds like you're in the beginning stages, but I think you're on the way to getting your goal.
I certainly hope so. Thanks for the support and the kind words. We also have another angle we're working on. One other member of our group, longtime member, Matt Roskamp, he has actually been talking to the Charlotte Checkers, who is the AHL affiliate for the Carolina Hurricanes.
Oh. Right.
He talked to them the other day and kind of gave them just a quick overview of kind of what we're doing and looking for. So there's that angle. And thinking back to your story and 2 podcasts ago, I think, with the Cleveland Monsters, what they do with their deck hockey group up there.
Exactly.
We're going to, we'll present that to the Checkers and, see if they can do something similar.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
So we have a lot of irons in the fire right now. It's just one of those got to hit.
That's very exciting all around, really. Anything else going on that you want to talk about while you're here?
Let's see. Well, there is, since I did mention friend of the show, Kevin Frost.
Yes.
We will be sending an onslaught of forces to Greensboro.
Oh, boy.
We'll be sending 3 B level. So he's doing A is the highest level, so ABC.
Right.
We'll be sending 3 B and 1 C level team to this tournament. 2 of the B levels are a split squad from our actual travel tournament team. And 1 is actually headed up by Nick Rose, who does the pickup games.
Oh, wow. Terrific. That's one of the real estate agents that you were working with from that moved?
The friend of the real estate agent, yeah.
Oh, friend of the real estate. Okay. Sorry. I can't keep up. No, that's great. That's wonderful. And good luck with that. That's, as I recall, July 21st, I believe that tournament is. James, correct me.
July 21st, yes.
Yeah, all right. Excellent. Yeah. So we talked to Kevin about that a few episodes ago, and that seems like it's going to be a great tournament. And let's see. So that was, I think it was like six players per team. Was that right? It's been a while.
1 goalie. Oh, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 5. Yeah, 5. Well, it's a 3-on-3 plus a goalie.
Okay. And a couple of subs.
2 subs. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Great. So yeah, that sounds. And you're able to send 4 teams. That's really exciting. Well, is there a rivalry between the teams that you're sending, or is it just like we're all on Team Lou?
One team will be pretty much the 2 names we had for the Ironman, the Jesters and the Firebirds.
Okay. All right.
And the other B team, I think it's the Panthers, if I'm not mistaken.
And you're all friends. You're all friends, but everyone wants to win.
You figure the more we send up, the better the odds are.
Yeah, of course. That really is an onslaught. So what happens if you wind up having to play each other?
It'll be just like the Ironman, and may the best Charlotte team win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys sent a delegation down to the Ironman and did pretty well, didn't you?
Yes.
So that's hoping
we did well last time. So
hoping for another showing just like that. So good for you.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to play in this one. So
excellent. Great!
I don't know. We'll see.
Are you going to be a Firebird, or what team are you looking for?
I'm going to be I'll be on the Jesters team, I believe.
Okay. Well, best of luck.
Thank you.
Excellent. Looking forward to it. Are you going to keep track of your progress too, or someone going to keep track of your progress on Facebook and or Twitter so we can follow along?
See if I can trick somebody into doing it for me there.
Excellent. All right.
Live tweeting.
Well, yeah, focus on playing and winning, of course, but
I need to hire a social media specialist or something.
Okay.
How about your tournament that's coming up, the Summer Slapper? Are you going to be having a large social media presence around that, or is it just kind of we have the fun day of and we'll report on it after the fact?
We might do some Facebook Live and things like that.
Great. Well, we'll be looking out for that.
Absolutely.
All right.
Fantastic.
And one thing I'm kind of excited about, again, with being able to step back and kind of get a bigger picture look at ball hockey for Charlotte and even what Kevin's doing in Raleigh. We're organizing, we're in the very, very beginning stages of coming up with kind of a portal, or not. We're not sure exactly how this will happen, either a website or through social media or something like this, but gather all of the smaller street and ball hockey groups like Charlotte and Raleigh, and Kevin having the tournaments in Raleigh and Greensboro, a lot have kind of come out of the woodwork that we didn't know about. There's groups in Wilmington and the Virginia Seashore area, Athens, Georgia, Franklin, North Carolina, which is way up in the mountains, or Western Carolina University is. So kind of gather the smaller groups together to give everybody a kind of a presence and a portal and a kind of an outlet for anything, maybe events that they're holding, so that we can have some cross-pollination of groups. If some guys want to go play in a tournament in Athens, we might not know about it because they're on Facebook but don't have a website, and some groups have Twitters and website and no Facebook presence. So kind of make a one-stop shop for a Southeast region ball or street hockey groups.
That's really exciting.
So in the very beginning stages right now, just gathering names and just kind of going out there and searching for groups on Google and Facebook and seeing what we can find and contact these groups and kind of see if they want to do this kind of thing.
So best case, you're hoping to put together maybe like a website which has all the information about all of the different groups contained in it, and can also have the capacity to send information out to all those groups?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, that's really cool. I hope that comes together for you.
Thank you. Something like don't even know what we're going to name it yet, something like Southeast Ball Hockey Federation, something to that effect, just to get all the little guys together and share ideas and have everybody kind of have the same growth pattern that the other larger groups have enjoyed.
Yeah, definitely. That's, I think probably the fact that these groups are so small and kind of fall through the cracks probably makes it hard for people to just even know that some of them exist. So if you have something like that, I think it benefits everybody to raise attention and awareness about all of these different options for people to play in the area. So definitely.
We still have people that join our group that tell us, I've lived for 5 years. I didn't even know you guys were here. So.
All right. Well, keep us posted on that. Definitely. We will, when it comes together, we'll gladly cover it and plug it here on the podcast.
Appreciate that. Probably looking maybe at the earliest 2019, probably like January. I'd like to turn a switch on it, so to speak. But
yeah, great.
The good thing about the tournament in Greensboro is a lot of the people from these groups will be there. We'll be able to talk and bounce ideas back and forth to see if they like this idea.
All right. Well, we wish you a great tournament and great success with this endeavor, this alliance that you're trying to build.
Thank you.
That's really exciting, actually. You're just looking to stick in North Carolina, or anybody that you can?
Anybody in the region, really. Even northern Florida, anywhere, Georgia, Alabama, Virginia, Tennessee. There's groups all over the place, but there's I don't want to say little organization, but it'll be nice to have one place where you can go and find something in your region, or just a bigger presence, even on website searches and such like that. So.
Yeah, I mean, definitely makes sense. But that's fantastic. And again, as we're always emphasizing, we compete against one another, but we're all on the same team for the spread of ball and deck hockey. So that's really great, man. Best of luck with that. And as Gary said, please keep us posted on that. We'll do what we can to promote it, and you're more than welcome to come back on when it's getting off the ground and whatnot.
Sounds good. Well, Kevin on too, since this is fully kind of partnering up on this. So he has a lot of resources he can use, and I'll be doing the contacting and such. So
perfect. We can't ask for anything more than that. That's so awesome. Very awesome.
Yep.
Have you and Kevin on at the same time? It's like an all-star team.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right.
Best of luck, man. Yeah, absolutely best of luck with the Summer Slapper. Best of luck with the new league and the finding a place to play. I mean, you're a busy man, so that's great. That's good to have a lot of things to do,
Before you go, do you want to throw us your social media stuff now, just to remind everybody where we can find the Charlotte Street Hockey League?
Sure. We are on every major and minor social network. Facebook, we're at Charlotte Street Hockey in groups. We're on Instagram. I believe it's at CLT Street Hockey. That's the same handle on Twitter. And we also have a YouTube channel we don't really keep updated too much, but we really should. There's some older videos on there if you want to go on and check out some of our in our infancy as a group.
Definitely.
Looking back on the videos, they're kind of funny. Just think of the time. So.
Well, I can't speak for YouTube, but we have checked out the things that you post every so often on Facebook, just little snippets of your games, and those are always fun to watch.
Yeah, we have a good time. We're a good bunch of guys.
Looks like.
We also do have a website, www.charlottestreethockey.com.
All right. Well, in all of those places, I would encourage you to, if you're in the area, to check out Lou and Charlotte Street Hockey. It seems to be growing fast, so you want to get in on the ground floor. You don't want to miss out.
And definitely sign up for the June 23rd Summer Slapper Tournament, too.
Yeah, all right. Well, Lou, it's always a pleasure to have you on the podcast here. You're welcome back anytime. And again, good luck with everything.
Thank you, guys. Great to be on here. Thank you for having me. Thanks for just supporting our group, too, and getting all the shares and everything out there for us. So
yeah, sure.
That's appreciated on the side.
The least we can do. Thank you. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Okay, take care, guys.
You too, sir.
Thanks.
Last minute remaining in the podcast.
Thank you, Pops. Okay, so thank you, Lou, so very much once again for being on the podcast. And we really do. We wish you all the luck in the world with your upcoming tournament and all of your projects, the irons that you have in the fire, as you so eloquently put it. Thank you to Pops for being the voice of the podcast. Thank you to Anthony Sajazi for providing us music. Thank you to the LIQ for sound effects and for tolerating me out of the net and in net for that matter. And thank you, of course, always for listening to this podcast. As we embark on our next 100 episodes, we sincerely appreciate you taking the time to make us part of your week. And we hope you'll stick around. And so with that being said, if you would like to talk to us, if you'd like to reach out and contact us for whatever reason, we can be found at the following places. You can email us at hitthedeck@gmail.com. On Twitter, we are hitthedeckpod. And on Instagram and on Facebook, we are at hitthedeck. And we would encourage you to subscribe to this podcast. Wherever you get your podcasts, please subscribe there. Or, if we're not on that service, then please let us know and we'll try and get on there. Speaking of subscriptions, you heard us talking before about the YouTube channel and all the highlights that we put on there. I cannot stress enough how much it would help us and how important it would be to us if you were to decide to subscribe to us on YouTube. We would really very genuinely appreciate it, and also something that would help us out immeasurably. And I can't stress this enough. Please, if you have a few minutes, go in iTunes and leave us a review, whatever you think is fair. Leave us a review about the podcast and why you think it's an enjoyable listen, and that would really, really, really help us out if you have a few minutes to do that. So thank you for that. James, is there anything that I've neglected to mention or that you'd care to add?
Just thank you for all your work, and thanks for listening out there.
Yes, sir. All right. So whether you are out there like a newborn fawn with just getting your legs under you, playing a position for the first time, or whether you are old hat and solid as a rock, doing what you do all the time, whether you are starting your own regional association of hockey, or whether you're just somebody who is, sitting in your comfort zone watching the Stanley Cup Finals, whatever you happen to find yourself doing, I would urge you always and forever to remember it's deck hockey. Don't be that guy. Thanks, everybody.
It seems like you're sorry, Gary.
No,
it seems like
James.
you're
Third time's the charm. Go. I'll shut up.